All right, we're going to call this meeting to order of the best Rotary Club in the. All right, we have an invocation. Julia, you're doing our invocation?
I am today, yes. Please bow your hearts and heads. Heavenly Father, be with us as we gather today. Help us to realize the power we have in you. We come from different viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs, but we are one in our commitment to our community, country, and to the world. Lord, give us the wisdom to work united with compassion for all. In your holy and blessed name we pray, amen.
All right, and then we have our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And do we have, four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And who's our singer? Daryl's our singer.
We have got to help the Mariners out again. They're starting to, they got back tied for first and they lost last night and they're down 5-0 today. But remember when we get to root, it's root for the Mariners. All right, here we go. Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some units and Cracker Jacks.
I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the Mariners. They don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
All right, thank you. Let's have a seat.
Is it a raffle or is it Sergeant of Arms? Huh? It's a raffle. We're raffling, guys. God, I hope one of you is a winner. Who's it going to be? Ooh. Number 33. 33. Take that one back. You gonna go for the beer? He's spinning. Big money. Past presidents pay $500. No, it's a $25 gift certificate at the Railroad Pub and Pizza. Woo! That was scary. I've got number 23. Ooh, Mandolina, let's do it. Just take the wine. Just take the wine. Ooh, beautiful. She's picking the Passek Cellars white wine. And your final winner today, lucky number 13. It's rigged. And she's smart too. We're not risking it. Past presidents, thank you.
All right, before you jump into Sergeant at Arms, I got a couple of other things.
You want some announcements?
Let's see. We've got an announcement here for a September 13th work party at Teak Martin's. I think the sign-up sheet came up. And John, no, but we don't have any guests, I don't think. Oh, we have Niall. He's here enough. Can we introduce our guest or let John introduce our guest? Nope.
This is my good friend Niall, who just slipped in here and joined us. But Niall's been doing a great job up in Hamilton and keeping everything in order. And he's doing some really interesting carvings that we're putting all through the buildings. So it's really fun. Welcome, Niall.
Welcome, Niall. Like I said, apparently there was a sign-up list that went around last meeting or so about the September 13th work party at Teak Martin's. And I don't know who's got the sign-up sheet. Does Josh Allen have it? Do we know? Anyway, he called me about it, so he's probably got it. And I believe that it's probably going to start around 8 o'clock, the 13th of September. And I'm going to try to bring my tractor up. Carl Garrison, were you thinking of a tractor? I've got my tractor. I can drive it right up there unless you want to bring one. I've got the tractor up there, so we'll be good to go. All right. Yeah. Got it. We'll fine tune the details as we get a little bit closer. Let's see. We're going to hold off on any other club business or announcements because that's essentially what's going to be our program today. And other than Carl, would you like to get up and talk a little bit about the golf scramble?
Yes, I would. All right. Well, planning is in full mode. I think we got our team put together and it's going to come together really well. So I put a little flyer on every table. That's our golf scramble announcement. It is September 4th, Thursday in the evening. It's 1 week before the salmon barbecue. You tee off between 4 and 5. If you're a little after 5, you can probably still make it, but try to get teeing off before 5. And it's a shotgun start, so you don't have to all pile up on the first hole. It costs all of $22, and you pay that directly to the golf course. And then Rotary's picking up the tab for the rest. Now I've got a sign-up sheet, multicolored. All of the ones that are highlighted are people that golfed last year but have not confirmed for this year. All of the ones with a check mark and that have no highlight have already confirmed and don't need to do anything. So I'll pass this around again and see if we can fill up the slate of golfers. I think we're around 20. We want to get over 30 if we can. And we probably will. So any questions, let me know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Carl. And Sandra, are you our Sergeant at Arms?
I am.
Take her away.
Taking it away. All right. So this is the way we play this today. I'm going to start with seed money. If we raise enough money with Happy Bucks, then I don't have to walk around and ask stupid questions for stupid answers. All right. So Happy Bucks, start thinking. I'm going to start. I have a happy 20. Who's picking up money for me? Ellen? I thought so. Here's my happy 20. I don't know if all of y'all know, but my house burned down last December and they finally started working in July. We got permits finally. And so they're rebuilding my house and it's so fun to get to see it's gonna be better than it was before, which is just really cool. So that's my happy 20. It's why I burned it down. Don't tell anybody and certainly don't tell my insurance. But so who else has Happy Bucks? We're at $20. We got to raise some money.
I will do a happy 10. So last night we swore in our K9 dog, Yogi, and it's quite exciting. He's already had some great successes. He's got a great name. He's a little intimidating to be by though, but yeah, so we're pretty happy about that. We're pretty excited about bringing him on. And I also want to give a shout out to Senator Wagner and also Representative Eslick. They have been championing the behavior health down in Olympia, something that we need within all communities and something that is rarely funded by the state, but they have been championing that and they were given awards by NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Health here in Washington. So thank you very much.
I've got a happy 10. Our flower girl, Bronte Lacey, is heading to Chicago to start medical school. She's going to be an optometrist, and we're happy as can be.
Keep the same theme going. I have a happy 10. Betty and I recently were down at Cannon Beach in Oregon for a mini vacation. It was great.
Fantastic. We are so happy.
I got a happy 20. I missed last week. But so Katie and I specifically said, we don't want to travel in July and August out of the Northwest. So we've been just enjoying the beach house with the grandkids and the other kids and whatever. It's been so beautiful. it's insanely beautiful that we just live in this area. And then to top it off, this weekend, we're going to get, a river of rain that we need to settle all the dust and for the farmers. And so I'm super happy for the upcoming rain and just living in this area and being part of this club. Thank you.
All right. We need more happy guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty darn happy. Last week I had grandkids and great grandkids, and we floated the river, and they got to see some really nice stuff for 2 days. So thanks.
John, I keep telling myself I'm going to stick around in July and August as well, but the kids don't have any sports in August, so we end up traveling. And I wish I was here. No, we had a great trip. Only tip is make sure you get the insurance for flat tire coverage if you're ever driving around Scotland. It's worth it.
Coming around.
Want to give a shout out to John here, Schmidt. He gave a tip when we were working on the Camp Kirby about where he gets his crab. So went out for a sail on a crab last Saturday, dropped a pot right where he told us where the crab were, went up sailing around Vindovi, came back through, picked the crab pot up. There we go, had dinner for the night.
Well, I got a happy 4 because I guess I'm not traveling to Russia. I would really like to go, but it's a little hot over there right now politically. So we're not going to go to Russia this summer. Maybe we'll go next year. Hopefully we'll see, but the garden is doing really well. So good that my peppers are breaking because they're so laden with peppers. So it's a good thing.
Okay, I have a happy 9 for my upcoming trip. I'm going to leave for Greece and I'll be gone for 2 weeks. So.
Not happy? Guys, I'm looking at you. Oh, okay. Still looking at you.
So using Rotary Project to its fullest on Saturday, we're doing the skateboard challenge. Kevin Loy and I are producing, and we're backed by the city of Sedro Woolley. Thank you very much. And that will be on Saturday from 10 a.m. till noon is the open skate and registration. And then at noon, we'll start the structured part of the challenge. We have free music and food trucks and shutting down the street. And it should be a fantastic event for, as Kevin put it in the paper, from 3 to 53. And so my happy bucks is $20, so I don't get fined by Louis for being in the paper.
All right. Walking this way. I don't see anybody was happy over here.
I've got a 20 up here.
Okay.
So I'm happy. I just did a couple of weeks of vacation. Got to go to Yellowstone, saw a bear out in the woods. That was pretty cool. And spent 5 days with almost all of my siblings in a barn dominium and their families. There were 24 of us in one place with 4 bathrooms. And I don't know how we did it without major problems, but that worked out. Then I got to go to Miami for a conference and spent a really good time with a bunch of really good friends. And if we think it's hot here, it ain't hot. This is the temperature they keep the inside of the buildings when the outside is like wearing a hot, wet blanket over your head all the time. But still had a great time. The prettiest lightning storm over the ocean coming in while we were out on the balcony outside of our room, and had a really good time. But it was good to get back home.
And then clap for President Lynn.
Thank you.
Finally, I was just reminded that last week we were not asked if it was your birthday month or your anniversary month to donate. So if you can do that, if you gave like an inordinate amount of money on a Happy Bucks, we can waive that. But otherwise, what is it? $3 a person? What's the?
That, yeah, I think it's $3 a person.
$3 for your birthday, $3 if your anniversary. If you're divorced, you get $5 because that's happiness right there, right? That's a joke. I'm kidding.
All right.
Anybody?
Oh,
All right, I'm
whoop.
done. I think we raised some money. Oh, that's it.
Hey, we did. I saved you guys. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same spirit of John here that been spending the whole week up at my cabin at Lake Sandwich, watching the sunsets over Blanchard Mountain. We're kind of watching it every night. It's about 3 minutes sooner as it crosses the mountain, but we're getting awesome sunsets. My grandkids have been coming up, friends been coming up for dinner, so it's been a great week.
Did anybody get to see that orange moon last night? I know we're getting a little bit of smoke from Victoria area and from the peninsula. So had a gorgeous orange moon. I thought there was a fire up Old Day Creek Road, and I went out with my binoculars and I saw it was the moon sneaking up through the trees up here. It was just stunning. That it? All right. So today, before I announce early leavers, we are going to go over club business stuff. I'm going to have a couple other people come up here during the course of this. We're going to talk about some of the things we went over at the last board meeting and just normal business stuff. Louis will come up and tune us all up and straighten us out on Sergeant at Arms type stuff. Right, Louis? He's got a whip to crack. And we have Ellen going to get up and talk just a little bit. And we might even get Steve to come up and say, yep, the budget's good. So if you need to leave, or if you want to hang around for a little bit and then bug out whenever you need to go, feel free. Hopefully we're going to be out of here at a pretty decent time, but this is an opportunity to just bring up anything that you'd like to see happening in this next year or going forward with our club, or things that we'd like to change. If you say this doesn't seem to be working, we're happy to hear that. You may be the only one experiencing that, but that may be you're the only one that's bringing it up. So we'd like to hear pretty much everything that anybody has to say. I've got a script to start out, but step up and interrupt me at any point during any of this. The first 2 or 3 things that I've got are things that we did as a board. So this is one of this kind of format, something like is what we're going to try to do once a month. Right after our board meeting, the next meeting after the board meeting, we're going to try to have this kind of conversation. And it's basically a fine tuning what we're doing and how we're doing it. So we had our requests come in for both Keith Wagner and Carl Garrison brought up sending money to Disaster Aid USA. That got put on hold just because I left town and didn't finalize it, but that was approved by the board last month. Yes, or did you do it? So Steve's taking care of that. Excellent. Thank you, Steve. That was an oversight on my part, but Steve is oversighting my lack of oversight. As Ruth is looking over my shoulder as well. So as I'm getting into this groove of being the president, there's a lot of other people that are pulling strings to help make things happen. We had a presentation at the board meeting to provide funding for a Sedro Woolley High School mariachi band. How does that sound, everybody? Does that sound kind of weird? Or that we have a band for virtually every day of the month or every meeting of the month in December. And we had questions at the board about that as well. What kind of representation do we have of a Hispanic population, just to help give us an idea of where that's going? We got between 20 and 26% of our students in the Sedro Woolley School District are affiliated or they're Hispanic or would identify with that. And it's a fairly reasonable request, and we approved it. We're going to spend some money. We're going to give it to Carrie. Carrie came up and gave a presentation on the band idea. And what we're doing is we're buying instruments. We've done a lot of work towards taking good care of our students that we've got. And this is another step. So we're going to have probably a mariachi band sometime this Christmas or next, coming in here to do their thing for us. Sounds kind of interesting. So we've got that board approved. We approved buying picnic tables for Olmsted Park and some of the other parks in town. And we approved that last year, or the last, during Ruth's presidency. But we hadn't really got down to the nuts and bolts of actually purchasing them because we were looking at something that we could make uniquely ours, our input to a Rotary. But we got thinking about the logistics of that. And we just decided to buy indestructible picnic tables like the metal ones that are out here now. So we went forward with that. We'll be sending Nathan a check as soon as we get the final number on that. That one was kind of just a gimme. We just needed to step up and do our job. We had a preliminary budget that was presented to us at our last meeting, and I think we were getting tired, and it was really hot in the senior center, so we didn't really delve into it too much, but it's pretty much the same thing that we do every year. We get the basic numbers that we got. Steve programs them into essentially a spreadsheet. We got Travis, another financial guy that takes a look at them. And for those of us that are not allowed to do budget stuff, even at home, for those of us that are married to an accountant, some of that just kind of goes over my head. So I rely on a lot of other people to be looking at this. But for right now, we've tentatively approved the budget. We're going to get the actual budget in here for the club to approve at some point, right, Steve? So budget looking like normal?
Approve it at the board meeting yet. Sorry. Yeah, we got to approve it at the board meeting yet, but after that, then everything will be good and everybody can start deciding what kind of projects we got to do because we have quite a bit of money to spend. So.
Perfect. So yeah, that kind of leads to another thing is we're going to put out a call for projects here real soon. We've got a couple of things that have dropped on our table that we've got to talk about at a board meeting, which will be our next board meeting / retreat. We've got that scheduled for September 9th. And we're going to be talking about some of these things that have come in for request for funding. We're going to talk about some of those, but we're also going to be looking for projects from the club. And one of the things that has been on my plate, and I just really haven't done it, is to get some of the guys from the Rusty Zipper group to go over some of our previous projects and see what needs sprucing up, what needs fixed, what needs, I guess, a second look. We can do all these projects. We can do all these wonderful things in town. But have you seen Nathan Salsina in here? He always looks a little overwhelmed. I don't want to add to that. He always looks kind of like, you guys want to build something huge? Okay, that's awesome. I think he likes the idea, but the burden shouldn't be dumped on the city for all of those projects. So we're going to take a look at all of those projects, but also anything that you've got in mind that we want to approach, if we want to look at, and if we want to possibly take on, we'll be asking for official input here in the next month or so, just to see where we need to go. Yeah, Cheryl.
I do have a couple questions. I really don't know who to go to for this, but the refrigerator in the kitchen is about ready to die. It's been there for 15 years. And usually when they start freezing everything, they're done. And it's been freezing everything for a while now. And so I kind of talked to the city guys a little bit about maybe a budget for that, but I'm not sure that's going to work, you know. So I don't know if that's something that the Rotary can think about. I just know from restaurant equipment that it's probably not adjustable to turn it down. Once they start freezing, that's kind of the last breath kind of thing. So,
I can put that on my list. I can
Okay.
talk to Nathan to see who's the best person to look at that.
Right.
And figure out where we need to go.
Yeah.
And then Nathan can talk to somebody who's in charge in the city
Okay.
about that kind of stuff.
Right.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, it's just freezing everything.
Julia knows
really
somebody
quick.
in the city she can talk to as well.
Yeah, there's no way to adjust it, the knobs up above, but like I said, it's been there for 15 years, so.
Nope, that's exactly the kind of thing we'd like to look at because that's a pretty, do we need a Kevlar refrigerator or anything like that? One that's potentially bullet resistant? Are we good? Is that too soon? Okay, Carl, did I make that awkward? Did I just make that awkward? Okay, got it. It wasn't that awkward then. Yeah, they're in a box in there. I'll get one. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That was all. Let's see. So yeah, some of the things we're looking at on some of these projects, are they doable? Are they to scale on something we can do? We had a couple of projects over the years that actually exceeded our scope. We spent a whole lot of time spinning our wheels and we really never got to them. We need something that is actually doable and not something. There are certain things we can just write a check for that we really don't have the expertise or the ability to do. We need things that are, doable, a person to lead it and scale to fit our abilities. Danny, can you get Carl the mic? The Carl in the blue shirt. That doesn't narrow it down though, so.
I don't know if you want to entertain projects, but I just thought of one that would be a good maintenance project, and that would be to reseal all the river rock at the park down there. And I would be happy to chip in personally to reseal the river rock around Janice's Memorial. And I also want to paint the top of the concrete with a concrete paint, and I'll probably do that myself, but it would be a good thing to do. We could do as a work party, maybe.
Got it. Once we put out that list, we'll make sure we get that on that list. So make sure you take a second look at it once we put that list out so we don't miss something. So just keep that in the back of your pocket or your back pocket there. We'll figure out what kind of things we want to go forward with. We'll be looking at what's our budget for it and is it doable in a timely fashion? And if we got a lead for it, like Carl's willing to be a lead on that. I'm supposed to be the lead on relooking at all the other projects in town. So I'll be bending the ear of the other, as my wife referred to it, the other old guys at the Rusty Zipper breakfast. I'll be talking to them and see what we do. So next thing on my list, monthly teams. Does everybody know what team you're on? Sandra knows because she's halfway done with her month. And Daryl's happy. Mandy, do you have one of these books yet? Got it. On page 6, there's the monthly teams. So Team Tapkins should be getting a hold of their teams a little bit prior to. I'm going to be getting a hold of my team in September here this week or early next week, and making sure that we got everything listed or everything covered. We've got a couple of programs that we're developing right now. I actually asked Julia to cover one of the program days in September, but we've got actually a program worksheet that shows all of the duties. And as usual, almost any one of us can step up and do any one of these jobs. This isn't rocket science, and this is us. This isn't just me up here talking. I'm the one that's I'm the one that is elected to do this right now. No, actually, I didn't get elected. I don't know how that worked out, but we should be able to carry this mission out with minimal hassle. But we do need to have people know, because most of you have busy lives. I'm unemployed. My life isn't that busy, but most of you have busy lives and trying to think about, and Frank, you are on my team. So you're my co-captain, by the way. I just elected you. So make sure you take a look at the books. And if you haven't got a book, we've got plenty of the books up here left. Make sure you grab one of the books. I think we got a box of them behind you. Yep, good to go. Any questions on teams? Most of you has been here. We just didn't do teams last year, but before that we did. What's that? Got it. Cheryl, the mayor's figured out your fridge or is working on it. Moving on to the next thing. So for those that don't know how the board works for our club, our board is we've got the president, we got the president-elect, we got the immediate past president, and then we've got the directors of different areas. So your board this year is me, Travis is the president-elect, Ruth Richardson as the tech wizard and past president, Secretary Ellen, Treasurer Steve, as usual, Service Projects Foundation Director Teek Martin, Foundation Director Mike Schweigert, and Club Administration Director Maggie Janicki, Club Youth and Exchanges Director Rebecca Scrindy, Club Image and Club Membership and Image Director Frank Wagner. Frank, you knew that was what you were doing, right? Got it. Club Fun and Fellowship Director Todd. That's you. You knew that, right? Got it. Got it. So most of us that got thrown into a club director role at some point honestly had no idea what you were doing going in there. But once you show up to a board meeting and we start talking about the things that we're doing, it becomes pretty evident pretty quickly. It's not a tough task, but it is an important one. The only downside to this, and I found this out, was when they're looking for the next president, you need to be a director first. So if you have aspirations for higher office, that's the place to go. If you don't have aspirations to a higher office, that's kind of weak. So if you need to be a director, step up to be a director. But it really isn't that tough. You know, but it is important. We look to the different directors for the different areas for guidance on direction that we want to take. When we have a youth thing that we're looking at promoting, that we look for Rebecca. That's her bailiwick. So those are the kind of things we're looking for directors information. And actually, there's a whole lot of stuff in this book. If you have not looked through this book recently, let's see. We have stuff on the club fun and fellowship director. Todd, there's a whole page of stuff that somebody might ask you a question about. You might want to look at page 7. But don't sweat. You can ask anybody. And what I have found over my years in Rotary, if you don't end up doing it, someone will say, why aren't they doing this? I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to talk to them later about it. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. You don't want that to be the norm, though. But take a look at those director positions. Any questions on that? Comments? No? All right. Get back on task here. One thing that came up, it was pretty important at our last meeting, was the auction. I'm going to wander around a little bit while I talk on this one. So I don't know, how many of you have been intimately involved in putting on the auction over the years? Pretty much, you know, 3/4 of the club have been involved in that. What we've done over the years, though, is we've leaned on the same people over and over and over again, right, Danny? Yeah. What we do is we end up putting the burden on making a successful auction on too few a people. I know that everybody's busy and all that, but we've been burning people up, and almost everybody that I've seen over the years has been involved in putting on the auction leading up to the point of the auction, they're just about ready to bug out after that. So I don't have anything to do with this. I'm tired, and this is just a little bit too much and I need some more help, but I don't know where to get it. So to fix that, or to help with that, we're starting our auction meetings earlier, which we've done in the past. But I think Ruth has got an auction manual. I haven't seen this yet, but she's put together an auction manual and she's used other stuff from years past. We're trying to put together the latest and greatest auction manual that will give us some guidance on direction and doing things in advance. And Rick, how many years did you put in saying you need to turn in your auction items? Here's what you do with this slip, that slip, and the other slip? Too many to count? You don't have enough fingers to count? Those are the kind of things that drive people insane. And it's just because they're responsible for it. I know, once again, people are busy and all that. But once we start looking at this earlier in September or October, I think that's when Ruth wants to start making sure that the auction lead is going to be starting up with live meetings or Zoom meetings, that we start coming up with some of these things, answers to some of these questions before we have them. We had a fail point at our last auction, but almost nobody noticed it because the people that were there working filled in all of the blanks that were left hanging. And they did such a wonderful job that it just made sure that it still was carried off with relatively few hitches that anybody saw outside of our group of people that were cleaning up afterwards. We'd like to not have that happen. That's just a big burden on our folks. We want to fix some of that problems. So if you have ideas for the auction, one of the things that says, should we rethink our whole auction and retool it? I don't know what that looks like. Most of us go to more than one auction in the Valley, and you see a little bit different things at different auctions, but there's a lot of the same thing at a lot of the auctions. Is there anything we can do to make our auction bigger, better, brighter, shinier, more attractive to people? So we want to look at that at some of our auction meetings starting here real soon. So keep that in mind if you're called on for an auction meeting and you have an idea for something that would just give us the wow factor. Let's start thinking about it and putting it into effect. Let's see here. Danny, do you have anything on the auction that you? Yep.
We used to have a lot of people come to the auction meetings, and then COVID obviously happened. But over the last couple of years, we've had fewer and fewer meetings. And when we do have them, it's the same 3 or 4 people showing up. And so we just need more hands, more people involved. So.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've noticed over the years when I first started here, a lot of our auction stuff looked like garage sale remnants. We don't have much of that anymore. However, I do believe that we auctioned off or tried to auction off something from the storage place that wasn't an auction item. So somebody's personal property may have ended up in the auction. If they're anything like most of us, they probably didn't notice. However, I remember carrying this thing out of the storage area. I said, I don't see a tag on this. Put it in the truck, put it in the truck. It ends up at, the auction location. And Danny's like, I don't know what this is. Nobody knows what this is. I don't think this is ours. So that was kind of funny though. So enough on the auction. Next thing is the one that I want to get some input from folks. So are there any of our club processes you want to see revamped? And I'm going to have Louis come up here and talk here in just a minute. Just talking about some of our processes and how we need to maybe not necessarily revamped, but, re-looked at. Hey, Louis, was there something in your talk about people's phones going off during auction or during meetings? Were you going to talk about that? Are you going to fine anybody that happens? Like when you're standing right up here? Yeah. Oh, got it. All right. We could find Daryl? Okay, yeah. So Louis, you want to come on up and talk a little bit about Sergeant at Arms and all sorts of stuff?
Okay, the first thing you all need to know about is that if the sergeant at arms mentions your name, that's a buck. And sergeant at arms can be brutal at times. I know those of you that have been here for a few years know of some of those brutalities. And by the way, Eric, thanks for fixing them. Okay. Now I'm under the directorship of a guy named Todd. Right. That's $1. Okay, now Sandra, you did a really good job on the Happy Buck thing. And you don't have to do it because you kicked in 20. So the sergeant at arms can actually do that. And she was good at that. Okay, so some of the basic things that you need to know about sergeant at arms is that you always got to have your badge on or it'll cost you a buck. Most of these are $1 deals. If you're have an anniversary or a birthday, and I was told that an anniversary was $3 because it's more important than a birthday. So actually it's $2 for a birthday and $3 for an anniversary. And so the other thing is if you got a phone in your hand, anybody got a phone in their hand right now? Nobody? Got a phone in your hand, you know, that's $1. And if you haven't been to a meeting for quite a while, Mandy, and you know, it's not just $1, but when I'm your sponsor and you haven't been to me, that's $2. Okay. Now, we've just about had enough about trivia. Trivia is okay though. When we do trivia, it causes problems. Usually the table that's on the block, pay-in block is listening. But some of the other tables are all talking amongst themselves. So talking when somebody else is conducting a fundraiser for our social events, which is really important to all of us, the sergeant at arms needs to look and see what's going on besides what's happening at the table they're trying to get money out of. So that's another thing a sergeant at arms needs to do. Now, being the chairman of the sergeant at arms, I'm also chairman of the Happy Bucks. So the way it was done today was great for Happy Bucks. However, if you didn't get fined in any other way, and you didn't pay a fine today, that's $1. You know, I was at a meeting the other night. I got invited by my son, and it was Chuck Rule and John Mattern. John, and it was disclosed up there that our salmon barbecue was going to cost us more money. Now everything is costing us more money, so it's true, isn't it, Steve, that we need more money for our social events. Yeah. Okay. Now, if your phone rings and you don't have, and even have it on silent and we can still hear it, that's more than $1. That's $2. And we could go on and on and on. But the most important thing is this money that we're raising is for our fun and games. And we want to make sure we have plenty of money to do that. Anybody got any comments or anything else to add? Bill?
If there's anything that's been constant during the time I've been in the club, is that I don't agree with the thing you have to say on Sergeant at Arms. I think the Sergeant at Arms is given the discretion to issue the kinds of fines you're talking about, but they aren't required to do that. And it's very, very important, I think, to not stand up and say hard and fast that it's $2 for this or $1 for that, because it just isn't. If you decide as Sergeant at Arms you want to make anniversaries $5, that you have the right to do that in your discretion. So it's all well and good and important that we have a certain guideline for Sergeant at Arms, but we shouldn't have the kinds of hard and fast rules that you've just expressed.
You got your opinion. Thank you. Okay. Any other comment? Anything to add by anybody? Carl?
Hey, Steve, what's the average per meeting that every member should be either fined or put in the raffle? At one time, it was $8 per meeting. But that gives you a heads up of the kind of money we need to make on an annual basis, and don't show up with $2 in your pocket. Make sure you got at least 10.
Any other comments? Now, lastly, it needs to be known that we cannot use foundation money for our social events. The only money we can use is the money that comes out of our wallet during our meetings or in some other manner. Thank you.
Thanks, Louis. So Louis had a lot of great input for this, but Bill brings up a really good point. I remember a member who talked about whenever they first started in the club and they didn't have any cash. They didn't have a lot of extra money to be spending on stuff. But I also remember early in my days here, Phil Mihalik going up and asking John to open his wallet and go in it. I didn't think that was right either. It was kind of funny, but it was still not fair. So really you need to take the fines and all that in the spirit they're being levied, that there's a real good reason for our fines, happy bucks and all that, and they support the Christmas party. Is that what we do our salmon barbecue off of too? So there's a couple of areas that we're using that money on. And like Louis said, everything costs more every year. So keep that in mind whenever someone says, hey, it's going to be $2 for this, $5 for that. If you don't have the money right then and there, don't pay it. I mean, that's all there is to it. We want to support our other members and we want to support the folks that we care about here. So do what you can and do a little bit more if you can. And if you can't do it much more, then do what you can. Next person, Ellen, before you got to run off to back to work, can you come up here and just talk a little bit about anything that you need as a secretary?
Excuse me, Mr. President. There was one more thing that.
Wait a minute. Yes, Louis, you can get up and talk. There we go.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. There's one more thing I think was important. When I talked about going around doing the trivia thing, that's okay once in a while. But it used to be that those members of the team that were in charge of doing Sergeant at Arms on a weekly basis would do a little research around the community. And if you found out somebody had done something really great. Well, you put them on the spot, but you'll congratulate them too, and that raised some money.
Okay, so as the new secretary, as I ease into this and learn all kinds of things, please just send me by either text or email if you're making up a meeting, and that way I can get it recorded. I'm going to be gone for the next 3 weeks, and the attendance sheets are going to be left in the box, but also know, and Teak, thank you for your text, but Eric or whoever's doing the filming will record the people that are online on Zoom. So you'll always get recorded, but it's always good to have a backup if you want to send me a text. And then the other thing is pay your dues, people. You know who you are.
She has spoken. So I didn't know where this was going to go, didn't know how this was going to go. But I think over the course of the next year, we'll adjust this as we see fit. I want to make sure that what we do doesn't get stale, doesn't get boring, and that it maintains a healthy club. I guess one of the things too that I'd like to bring up is we have different I guess a lot different types of people come into these meetings. Some are sitting at their desk and they get an email and they pop to it, they answer it right away. Some of us have to be reminded that we have email, and they said, oh crap. Ruth would always do this to me. I spent 2.5 glorious years with looking at my email when I wanted to. She knew to text me and said, read your damn email. And so I'd like to hear from people at some point how our communications are getting out. Are you getting the message? Or do you need the message? Or do we need a different communication scope? Because that's one part of effective communication, is the actual thing that we use to do that communication. Coming to meetings and having passing on the information. That's one great way. My emails are completely different than Ruth's. Everything you needed to know about the club was in a Ruth email. I'm a man. There'll be a minimal amount of information, and I will send you some of that information. And if you have any questions, just ask. I don't know what you want or what you need. So a little bit different, but if the communication style is not effective, then I need to adjust that. That will be my responsibility. But if you're not getting information on the who, what, where, when, why, and how of what we're doing, just ask. I could tell people to go to the website and look things up. That's not always there. John Schmidt, do you go to a website and look up stuff that you need to know? I was going to send any information we need to get to you to Hank. But see, we've got that, and we've probably got Mandy here, are you on your email every once in a while at work? Got it, yes. So we have completely different style or different kinds of, people. So those are the kind of things that I want to explore during the course of these next few meetings like this. And don't be afraid to say, you just bored the hell out of me. Let's do something different. That's fine too. I spent 30 years dealing with people that hated me. So if you just say, I didn't like that very much. Thank you for your input. I appreciate it. I've had Bill McCann yell at me as an attorney, not as a fellow Rotarian. Didn't break my heart. Did make me sad a little bit. But it's just part and parcel of doing our job here. We want to have a successful club. We want to keep it successful. We want to attract new members. We want to keep the members that we have. We don't want to burn up the people that we've got. We don't want to scare the hell out of people whenever we say, hey, Todd, you got to do this, that, and the other. It's not that big a deal. If you can't figure it out, just ask. We don't know what you're doing either or what we're doing. We're just making this up as we go along. Any questions before we call it a day? John?
I think our city needs a little more assurance that if we're interested in doing these projects, we've done a lot of them. It's wonderful. But like just the recent one that Niles helped on the one little shelter down there, the guys go in and pull the staples and do the things. I mean, just little things like that. And I think the city could ask us, this needs done, and then we'll bring that up, okay?
Maybe we need to set up a regular checkup between us and the city for those projects that we have not dumped on the city, but that we've done that we don't want to just leave it in the city's hands. Right now, we've got a Nathan that we can always go to, and he'll figure something out and go to the right people to ask questions. But what if we don't have a Nathan available someday when he finally retires, or you, or Louis, or Bill, or some of the others that have been deeply involved in Rotary over the years and don't know the details of what we did? So we need to keep that on the burner. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So basically, John just kind of called me out, so I'll throw $1 in for that. Anything else? Louis?
On that last point, yeah, I gave the guy $5. Happy buck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did meet with Nathan here about a month or two ago. And he said that he wanted all of us that had done projects in the past, and I can't remember the date that he came up with, but he said that, and I hope this is true, but that us using this building, we're getting some credits for that. And Nathan said, well, I want you to go back and figure out what some of these other projects were that we're involved in, and let me know how much money it is so that we can add that to the list.
Right.
So I think that's what you were getting at.
No, and not just that. That was the first I'd heard about it whenever we were talking to Nathan. I think we called him into the Rusty Zipper meeting. He was walking by on the street and I said, Nathan, get in here. Didn't even buy him breakfast. I should have done that. But no, that's a very good point, because I talk to the finance director for the city every once in a while as I'm watching her kids, and actually asked her about that as well. And that is something that we should make sure we are crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Because back in some of the beginning days when I was coming in, some of those projects were pretty high cost projects. Right. And he's looking for some sort of documentation on those, and we'll try to come up with it.
Got it. Thank you. And with that, we are done. I do appreciate you staying and listening. And once again, if you got more input, send it to me, send it to anybody. Send it to Todd, just because it'd be funny. But thank you.